obviously, the big story is #2 team in the country coming in here. What have you guys, I mean, obviously you play OU every year, but what have you really seen from this year that's different from years past?
I think our pitching's a lot better. I think we're more a staff more than just one person against the world. So I think we're going to be able to work all together. And I think even our offense is 100 times better. And I think we're just going to compete even more this year against them.
Is there any sort of anticipation or just that excitement as you guys have beaten some really good teams this year, but to match up with a team like Oklahoma, where's the excitement level for this series?
I think we're really excited. I think we're trying to control it in a way to not make it bigger than it is. And so I think we're just going into it like it's another game for us and not having big expectations for ourselves and just being able to play our own game.
What did you learn from the Memphis game to take into this first conference game?
I think we learned to not coast. I think we were starting it to a place where we just took things for granted, and I think having that loss and be able to recover and have one more game before we play Oklahoma will really help keep us on edge and keep us ready to play the next opponent.
How do you think the non-conference preseason as a whole prepared you for the Big 12 play?
I think it's really helped us playing other big conferences, and I think we've been able to have some easy games. We've had some hard games. I think we've learned where we stand with everybody else and to know our level of play when we get to play conference.
And speaking of where you stand, how much of a measuring stick do you feel like this is, since Oklahoma softball traditionally is kind of a real high standard? So.
I think we're getting up there. I think obviously they have a big history, and we're trying to create our own history. I think that we're making our way there, and I think this year will be a good year for us for sure.
How far do you feel like y'all have come just since last season?
I think a world of a difference for me. I think being able to have Missy and Morgan and Brooke, we've been able to make ways, and I think our offenses have been amazing. I think adding Trinity to the lineup has really helped, and I think we're working all together as a unit rather than just the pitching staff doing good or just offense. I think that we're working as a whole, being able to compete and beat teams.
So kind of what we were asking Aaron, obviously, you know, Oklahoma's been top of the Big 12 for years now, but just as a measuring stick, as that team that you guys can kind of look to that you will need to surpass, you know, in this conference, how nice is it to get them at home, get them in that first series, and just see how you guys measure up against them?
I think now is the best time that we could play them. We're feeling good about ourselves, clearly, and it's good to bring them here, be at our home field. It's comfortable. It's where we thrive, and we're just really excited to go out and have fun like we've been doing against the top opponents we've seen so far.
For you guys on offense, specifically for the hitters, now that the Pages are gone, the pitching staff kind of turned over a little bit. What do you guys know about the pitching staff now? Oklahoma always has kind of good pitchers there, but now that those main ones are gone, what do you guys know about the new staff?
I mean, they're still going to be good. It's Oklahoma, so they're still going to have their good pitching staff. We've spent this whole week preparing for them. Like, our coaches have put in work to watch film and know what we need to do, and we have the machines set up where they need to be, and we're just prepared for anything they throw at us.
What is one of the because we've asked throughout the season what's different from your guys' belief series to series compared to previous seasons, but specifically with Oklahoma, how do you guys feel differently this year compared to previous years when you've played them?
This year, I think the difference is, like with OU and the rest of the season so far, personally, the difference I see is that we have more belief in ourselves and we believe in our teammates on the side of us, and I know it's nice to have our pitchers behind us. And if we're not going to hit right away, they'll hold them for us, and we just have fun and enjoy the game and just act crazy and enjoy it.
Is it not as much urgency from both the pitching staff and the hitters in knowing you can rely on each other?
Yeah, it's not so much pressure and tension all the time. It's knowing that whether it's the first inning, fifth inning, it'll get done, and we just trust in that. So.
How do you think your guys' hitting has improved since the last time you played OU?
I think that we had a good offense last year, but I think that it's just so much better this year because it's almost so stacked. Like throughout, we can hit a home run, we can bunt, we can steal anything. I think we're very versatile throughout, and we can get it done that way.
So, Coach, how much of a measuring stick is this series to just kind of gauge how far your program has come?
You know, I mean, I think already we've taken large jumps that have already shown that we can play with really quality opponents, and I think, you know, when you have Oklahoma that's top in the country, I think you keep your expectations realistic, but at the same time you expect to win. And I think we're at a point where we match up talent for talent, and I think that's what we're excited about, is that we know we match up, and it will just be like who comes through in the tough situation.
So do you get any sense either from people on the inside or people on the outside, friends, family, that this series is different this weekend because more anticipation, more opportunity for you to really make a big statement?
I think we try to keep our perspective at where it has been, which is just doing the best we can and making sure that we respect each opponent and we worry about ourselves, and we prepare the way that we've always prepared. And I tell our kids not to get in the hype. What we can do is continue to control what we can, and that's been our energy and how we've attacked each opponent. And I think we've done a good job about that so far. So why would we change?
You kind of touched on it there. You guys have played a lot of good opponents this season, really, high ranked opponents. Is it different when it's a high ranked conference opponent just because there's a history there?
Yeah, I think of course it's heightened whenever you play conference, and what's I think fortunate for us is that we're in a very good conference, and so we get to continue to face great talent week after week. And so you always have this step up when you go into conference. No matter, even if we were to play someone lower in the conference, it would just already put this higher step because it is conference. But then you put a top 5 opponent on top of being conference, and it's like, hey, that could feed you to have some anxiety, or we can just continue what we've been doing, which has been exceptional, and we just don't let it fuel us.
Is there I was asking some of the players with the pages that have graduated from Oklahoma's pitching staff, who've obviously played for years now.
Yeah, forever. Yes,
there's.
Yeah.
How much do you guys talk about new pitchers coming in versus just attacking them overall, just how your batters are going to do against them?
We have a very specific plan towards each pitcher, whether it's going to be the righty Lopez or the lefty Juarez or the freshman, but I think we all everybody in the nation took a little exhale when those guys graduated, and we'll have a good game plan, just like we've had a good game plan against Arizona State or Washington, or we'll formulate a good game plan, and we'll see what our kids do.
Going up the hitting, Jessica setting a new record for RBIs at Texas Tech. What example has she just set for some of those freshmen coming in on an everyday basis?
Yeah, we talk about this a lot. Jess didn't start her freshman year. The kid just worked and worked and worked and got develop better pitch selection and kept working on her swing and becoming a more mature ball player. So, I love that she didn't come in and was just a stud as a freshman. I love that it's a little bit of who we are, right? That we are self-made and we build ourselves from the dirt and we work hard and we believe great things. And if you put all that stuff together, then you will reap the reward. And so I love that she's the first one to be able to do that, and for these guys to see that. Everybody wants to see the product and doesn't really want to talk about the process, and Jess has just embraced the process and just kept going at it and going at it and going at it. And some of her RBIs are huge, and the one she broke it with was small, and she'll be mad about that, but the huge ones are just as important as the small ones. And and she's just really, I think, paved the way for so many young people in our program.
I guess, would you call a win over Oklahoma a huge win then for this program?
Yeah, huge. Every win is a huge win, honestly. But a top 5 win, of course that's going to be a huge win for us to beat a top ranked opponent. But it's not something that we don't think is possible. We absolutely think it's realistic. So we're ready.
So what would it mean just for these girls to get that?
If you look at last series when we faced them to this series, that would be huge.
How do you think playing at home could help the team when playing against OU?
Huge. The culture they've created at Norman, the atmosphere has been made for 20 plus years. I think it's hard to play in that type of environment no matter what. I played in that environment when I was a player, so I know how hard it is, so I'm excited to have the tables turned for it to be our environment on our home field where we're comfortable in our elements and not another pressure on something that our young kids can't control, so I think it's huge. I hope that we're ruthless in our stance, and that we show them as forward as what they show us whenever we go to Norman.
When this year started, Did you feel like this team would have 20 however many wins and just a couple of losses at this point, or has this team surprised you at all with how far it's come?
Yeah, I knew we were talented. This 18 class had been committed to us for 3 years. Our 17s had been committed to us for 3 years. Like, we knew exactly talent we were getting. I think what I didn't really know is like how well they were going to gel together and really care about each other and build each other up. I think if anything has impressed me, it's been that, is just the character they've shown within themselves. I knew they were talented individually. Like, we've worked our tail off for recruiting, so we knew what was coming here. We knew, people that have known me knew that I talked about this year's roster being our most talented yet. That part, as far as talent goes, no shock. But just the camaraderie, I think, has been the most invigorating thing for me and our staff.
And that might answer, I was going to ask you also, what's been kind of the most pleasant development? I guess that's probably the most pleasant thing, is how they've come together. Is there any individual personnel people that have really taken a leap forward that was like, wow, that's a nice, this person has reached a level that maybe we weren't sure they would get to this quickly?
Taylor Satchel. I mean, if you look at Taylor Satchel, she came in last year from transfer from LSU, played, sparingly, shared time, got pinch hit for a ton, and just kept working and kept grinding and kept just working on her character and figuring out how to expect more of herself. And then she comes out this year and just has exceeded her own expectations. Continues to work in there now. Continues to take extra reps, and and she's your starting shortstop. And we made that move late. Like, she was our second baseman all the way up until 2 weeks before season, and I felt like we needed to make a move, and she said she was willing, and we made the move, and we haven't looked back since. And she's integral in what we're doing. It's huge. So, and for a senior to do that, that should be an example to all people to continue to keep fighting.
Is there a happy medium around this team that, obviously a great non-conference so far, number 14 in the country, but to still have 3 conference teams ranked higher, to still keep that chip on the shoulder and kind of play the underdog role while also having an incredible season so far?
Yeah, I think we don't pay a lot of attention to other people. I think we're proud of what we're doing, and of course, we expect to continue to be better, all the time. We expect to get better. We expect to grow in areas. We talk about in practice our improvements on ways we can be more intelligent. I don't think we're satisfied at all, and I think that that's the most important piece. Is hey, we're the best this program has ever been, and that's not enough. We're not satisfied. We're still hungry, and we'll still chase it full front.
And when it comes to big games that you both had and coming into conference play, has it been nice to have, now that the pitching and batting seems like it's really matched up, that there's not as much pressure on one side or the other in these big games if one of them's not performing in the first couple of innings?
Yeah, it's been huge to be able to just say, stay the course. Stay the course, we'll get it done. We'll find a way, we'll create on the base pass, or we'll create within our bunting game, or we'll get into a few, or we'll hold it down in the circle, or we'll make big plays defensively so that our at-bats can come, even if it's the 6th. We're going to be patient. And we've always pressed too early, and I think we've been able, which is an immature team, and a mature team will just continue to stay the course and continue to take their hacks, or continue to trust the process defensively, and I think we've evolved in that a ton, to be able to just trust that we're going to come through, and we have over and over and over.